Hello and welcome. In this video, we are discussing about constructors in Java. So in Java, a constructor is a block of codes similar to the method. It is called when an instance of the class is created. So at the time of calling constructor, memory for the object is allocated in the memory. It is a special type of method which is used to initialize the object. Every time an object is created using the new keyword, at least one constructor is called. It calls a default constructor if there is no constructor available in the class. In such a case, Java, there are two types of constructors in Java: no arg constructor and parameterized constructor. It is called constructor because it constructs the values at the time of object creation. And it is not necessary to write a constructor for a class. It is because Java compiler creates a default constructor if your class doesn't have any. So rules for creating Java constructor. So there are two rules defined for the constructor. One, constructor name must be the same as its class name, and a constructor must have no explicit return type. A Java constructor cannot be abstract, static, final, and synchronized. We can use access modifiers while declaring a constructor, and it controls the object creation. In other words, we can have private, protected, public, or default constructor in Java. So types of Java constructors. So there are two types of constructors in Java: default constructor or no arg constructor, and parameterized constructor. So types of Java constructor: default constructor and parameterized constructor. So Java default constructor. So a constructor is called a default constructor when it doesn't have any parameter. Syntax of default constructor: class name. Example of default constructor: Java program to create and call a default constructor. Class bike1, creating a default constructor. Bike1 system.out.println bike is created. Then main method, public static void main string args, calling a default constructor bike1 b equal to new bike1. Then output is bike is created. So if there is no constructor in a class, compiler automatically creates a default constructor. Class bike compiler. Then what is the purpose of a default constructor? So the default constructor is used to provide the default values to the object like 0, null, etc. depending on the type. So example of default constructor that displays the default value. Class student3 int id string name, then method to display the value of id and name, void display system.out.println id plus name, public static void main string args, creating objects student s3 s1 equal to new student 3, student s3 s2 equal to new student 3, then displaying the values of the object s1 dot display, s2 dot display. So the output will be 0 null 0 null. So in the above class, you are not creating any constructor. So compiler provides you a default constructor. Here 0 and null values are provided by default constructor. Java parameterized constructor. So a constructor which has a specific number of parameters is called a parameterized constructor. So why use the parameterized constructor? So the parameterized constructor is used to provide different values to distinct objects. However, you can provide the same values also. Example of parameterized constructor. So in this example, we have created the constructor of student class that have two parameters, and we can have any number of parameters in the constructor. So Java program to demonstrate the use of the parameterized constructor. Class student for int id string name. Creating a parameterized constructor student for int I string n. id equal to a, name equal to n. Void display system.out.println id plus name. Public static void main string args, then creating objects and passing values. Then constructor overloading in Java. So in Java, a constructor is just like a method but without a return type, and it can also be overloaded like a Java methods. So constructor overloading in Java is a technique of having more than one constructor with a different parameters, and they are arranged in a way that each constructor performs a different task, and they are differentiated by the compiler by the number of parameters in the list and their types. So example of constructor overloading. Then difference between constructor and method in Java. A constructor is used to initialize the state of an object, whereas a method is used to expose the behavior of an object. A constructor must not have a return type, while a method must have a return type. The constructor is invoked implicitly, while the method is invoked explicitly. The Java compiler provides a default constructor if you don't have any constructor in a class. The method is not provided by the compiler in any case. The constructor name must be the same as the class name. The method name may or may not be the same as the class name. Java copy constructor. So there is no copy constructor in Java. However, we can copy the values from one object to another copy constructor in C++. So there are many ways to copy the values of one object into another in Java. They are by constructor, by assigning the values of one object into another, by clone method of object class. In this example, we are going to copy the values of one object into another using Java constructor. So Java program to initialize the values from one object to another object. Copying values without a constructor. So we can copy the values of one object into another by assigning the objects the values of another object. In this case, there is no need to create the constructor. Does constructor return any value? Yes, it is the current class instance. You cannot use return type, yet it returns a value. So what is the purpose of constructor class? So Java provides a constructor class which can be used to get internal information of a constructor in the class. It is found in the java.lang.reflect package. So this was a brief discussion on constructor in Java. Thanks for watching this video. Bye for now.